On this video, I'm going to show how to create a simple Twitter retweet comment contract on CleverBounty. Okay, first of all, we go to available contracts and we're going to see that there's nothing there right now. We're in the middle of strategizing on a new campaign, so normally there would be a lot of contracts there would be populated with something like this. So in order to create a new contract, let's say that you want 100 people to retweet your tweet. So first of all, you go to My Campaigns and you would create a campaign. In this case, we already have a campaign created, but you would go to New Campaign. You would just put in the title and put in some text for it. But like I said, we have a campaign, so we're just going to use this one. We can always edit it and change things. Then we go to New Contract, and then we select the campaign that we just created. We create a title for it, retweet. Let's use the date. And then we can select our currency. Now, you can use stellar lumens and you can use a standard stellar key, which I will show first. But you can also use additional currencies, and that is a special attribute of the system that becomes very useful later on, and I'll show you why. Okay, so let's just create a regular contract with stellar lumens, and let's say that we want to pay each person 1 stellar lumen apiece. In order to retweet, that's about 10 cents right now. So each retweet is going to cost you 10 cents in this scenario. You can set the price at whatever you want, but if you want people to accept your contract, and especially people with a lot of followers, then you're going to want to set that price higher. If you want a lot of people, if you need thousands of retweets, you're going to set that price a little bit lower. Okay, so let's say in this case we're just going to get 5 retweets. System takes 10%, so that's $5.50. The open date is going to be today, but you could set it at any date in the future you want. The close date, obviously you have to set after the start date, but we're going to select the 30th for this one. We're going to select here, we're going to select Twitter. Now you have a bunch of options here. You can tweet, you can create a hashtag contract. This is a generic contract that you can just create general instructions and have them follow it. That's, for example, if you want people to like and also retweet at the same time, maybe create their own tweets that have, graphics or whatever in it. There's a bunch of things you can do with that. But let's just use a standard retweet contract. And let's say that we want people to have a minimum of 100 followers to tweet this. So they cannot accept this contract unless they have at least 100 followers. Now, active since means when were they active on Twitter? When was their Twitter account created? So people just can't create new Twitter accounts today and just use those for the purposes of tweeting out of new accounts. So in this case, active for February 1st, 2019, just a couple months back. Then we select the tweet that we want retweeted. And let's go here and let's select a tweet here. Select a random tweet, something that doesn't mention anything that's not G-rated. And we copy the link to the tweet. We paste that link in here. And it shows you that the tweet has been retrieved by the system, therefore verifying that you do have an actual tweet that's valid. Okay, hit continue. And now the easiest way to pay is your Stellar wallet, but first we're going to use just a regular Stellar key. You need to input a private key here, and you can get one from Stellar Term by creating a new account and generating a key pair, and then putting money into that however much you want and just using that key pair. Or you can use a key that you already have. So here is a secret key. It's a standard Stellar key, and just to check to make sure that that Stellar Key is working, that you have a balance in there. I like to log in using Stellar Term or whatever your favorite client is. And here we're sure that we have enough balance in there. Okay, so we're going to use that Stellar Key. Just paste that in here. And now it wants you to verify and make sure that this is exactly what you want. And you hit continue. It will go to the Stellar network and it will request payment from that account. Okay, now you can see that your contract is there, it's active, and when people actually complete this contract, you'll be able to see all of their submissions here. Obviously it's not going to pull anything up right now, but it will show in my campaigns, it will also show in my contracts, but let's just stick with my campaigns because it's easier. You can also end the contract at any time. Okay, now in terms of the PapayaBot wallet, let me show you why we selected that. It is a very good piece of software. You want to go down to payment options and under send payment, put in your PapayaBot wallet. Now that's my standard one. I'm going to put in a new one just to show that you can add it anytime. Add a new one anytime. And in this case, we're going to create a new contract. And part of the power of PapayaBot is that you can use alternative currencies. You can do that with other wallets, and I'll show you that in a second, but with PapayaBot it's significantly easier and more secure. Okay, so we're going to select our campaign here. We're going to put in our retweet contract, and we're going to select a different currency. We're going to select Crypty. That's our own currency, and we're going to say 100 Crypty per retweet. That's run 100 to 1 for stellar lumens. So again, that's about 10 cents right now. And let's say we want 25 of these. Let's put the close date at a few days from now. Category Twitter. And in this case, let's just make sure that we have a real following here. Anybody who actually propagates this, you want them to have at least 1,000, let's say. And active since give it a couple months. Alright, so now we're going to go select a tweet, and let's select something more important. Okay, and we're going to put it in here. And since this is taking from the PapayaBot wallet, you just hit continue and verify that's everything that you want. And then you can go to your Telegram PapayaBot wallet. And it will ask you if you want to proceed with the transaction. This gives another level of security. With a Stellar Key, there is no way for it to ask for permission. So you have no additional verification. If someone used your PapayaBot wallet, it shows up on your phone or whatever device you're using for Telegram, and therefore you wouldn't approve the transaction. You would know that somebody is trying to steal from you. So we go to available contracts, now you'll see that one there. Also, PapayaBot, and I'm not the developer of this software, but we did do a lot of analysis to decide what we were going to use. And PapayaBot is very powerful. You can work with many different currencies. This is the full list here, and you can see there's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, there are things like Mobi and obviously Stellar Lumens. We have our proprietary currencies, Export and Crypty selected, and you can actually get the developer to add additional currencies if that's what you want. You can also set your base currency. In other words, it tells you what the value of your wallet is based upon whether it's, if you want it calculated in Bitcoin or Stellar Lumens. I prefer Stellar Lumens, but you can have it calculated in Bitcoin, and that shows you the total value of your account in Bitcoin. It also accepts all of those currencies by default. You don't have to have them enabled before you receive them, and therefore if someone sends you some random currency, you don't lose it. It doesn't go away. In addition to that, you can send your currency directly from, Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example. You can send it directly from an exchange. You don't have to transfer it to a Stellar asset in order to work with it. So that allows us to work with Bitcoin and Ethereum and other currencies that are off the Stellar chain. In addition to that, you have transaction history, which gives you, especially if you're working with smart contracts, this gives you a lot of information that you might need. Okay, for example, this is the transaction that we just used to create the smart contract. It gives us a link here that we can use to go to Stellar Expert, and this will show the transaction creating the smart contract. So this will actually give us this is the PapayaBot address, and it's, by the way, custodial account. So it's always going to be this account with a federated address. But it has now deposited this money to this account, which is now the Stellar Smart Contract. Stellar Smart Contracts require you to deposit 2 Stellar Lumens in order to create the contract. But you can see the account balance here is 2,750 crypti, and as people fulfill contracts, you will be able to see that go down. So that's obviously very useful for a number of reasons. And PapayaBot has other features. Like I said, we're not the developer. I'm not going to go into all of its beatitudes, but you can also use Lobster, and Lobster again also has default accepts any Stellar asset. However, it does not accept Bitcoin or Ethereum directly. You would have to transfer those to Bitcoin and Ethereum pegged assets on the Stellar chain. So that's a little bit annoying, but you can use it. And if you want to do that, you go into settings and you can see your secret key here, and then you input the secret key when you're creating the contract. So that's how to create a Stellar smart contract, and you can use this to generate as many retweets as you want. You can also use this for a lot of purposes that are impossible by other means. So let's say Facebook contract, and we're not going to go through with this, but let's just say that we are, and let's give this 500, because this is going to be a lot more difficult, and then we would probably want to create like 20 of them or whatever it is. We give them just 2 days to complete it, and then we say, for example, Facebook. Now what you would want to do in here is you would want to put in the Facebook groups that you want them to join and then post into. So if you had an article, okay, work for blockchainreporter.net, so let's say that you wanted to have this article pasted into 20 Facebook groups. You can join the groups yourself, you can paste it in there, but the bottom line is that it would be you every single time. People would notice that it was spam, and you just get banned from all those groups. Our bounty hunters, there's hundreds of them, so you can have them join these various groups and make sure that nobody posts more than one copy to any one group, and that each person only posts to maximum of 2 groups. Spread it out over days, whatever you want to use for your strategy, and therefore it does not look like spam. So you would say post this article and then you would put in whatever group you wanted to put in. You can also instruct them to add in their own language so that it sounds more natural. You can have them determine which groups they think would be best. Remember, these are people who are typically ICO bounty hunters. They do have a good working knowledge of social media, cryptocurrency, and the marketing techniques behind ICOs, which is exactly what we're using here. We're using this for general marketing. So, which is a very good model. Obviously, it's worked to raise a lot of money in the industry. So that's basically the way that it works. You can also do special Telegram contracts to scrape users from other groups. There's a number of different things you can do with this, but the bottom line is that if you want to use a unique asset, which is suggested, and really we suggest we suggest PapayaBot because it has a lot of additional features, especially the verification. Whenever you create a smart contract, you want to make sure that you have a verification process, and that allows you to there's an additional security check in there. So that's how to create a smart contract. And also, if you want to create your own cryptocurrency on the Stellar chain, that's pretty easy. I can show you how to do it. And then we can just enable that in here. And essentially what you would do is you would give away your currency. You would pay people in your currency, and then you would open a trade. On Lobster, we have a permanent trade open for Crypty, and therefore see, we have this order here, we have this trade open, so, and it's pegged to 100 to 1 for stellar lumens, and therefore anybody who wants to come along and trade in their Crypty at any time, they don't have to talk to us or do anything. The order is active at all times, and people do that. They fulfill the contract and they immediately come over here and they trade in their Crypty, and then they get their stellar lumens. So that's it for this demo. Any additional questions, I'm happy to answer them. In addition to that, we have campaign managers who will manage this for you. So you'll have to pay them a little bit. It depends on the size of your project, if you want ongoing work, or if it's something that you really want managed by someone else. But generally speaking, these are pretty competent people. They are bounty managers for ICOs, so they know how to manage bounty hunters, and you can have them instruct the bounty hunters to do anything you want. They will be in the Telegram group, our CleverBounty Telegram group. You can have them make a private group, whatever you want, and they will manage the entire process. So like I said, there's a little bit of overhead there because you're paying somebody to do it, but it also takes the headache out, and they create contracts all day long. They can do it very efficiently, and they can manage the bounty hunters if there's any special requirements.